said 5 months ago he came to Toronto fully intent on announcing his retirement and had a change of heart. And I began the interview by asking Mats if that was true.
No, it's not true. But there's certainly been times over the past, since the season started last year, where obviously I had doubts about playing any more hockey. And I think there's been parts of the summer where obviously I haven't been training and so forth and doing what it takes to play in the National Hockey League. So there was doubts at some parts of the summer, but I never had any plans to have a press conference at the time.
You know, I saw you with Nick Kyprios, and you said, my family, they all want me to play. And I can remember, Mats, 10 years ago when we started the NHL Players Association Goals and Dreams, Mike Gartner was heading the meeting in Toronto, and you said, Garts, how do you know when it's time? And I don't even remember the answer. I was blown away that you were even having that dialogue 10 years ago, starting to think about what will it be like to call it a day. So what kind of questions have you been asking yourself over these 10 years about whether to carry on?
Well, I think I played 17 years in the National Hockey League. I've been very fortunate to play in the greatest game in the greatest league, and you know, I think it's all different for each and every player. I think, and many times it's your body that just can't do it anymore, or whatever. Your mind is saying no. I think in my case, with the way last season ended and missing the playoffs again, it was very disappointing, and I certainly didn't know if I was going to be able to play and prepare and doing what it takes to prepare to play in the National Hockey League again. So I think for me it's been over time here I realized that as the season has started in the National Hockey League this year, I miss being in a dressing room, and I miss competing against the best players in the world. And you know, a little over 2 weeks ago I told my agent JP to let's try to find a team that I can go back and compete and play with.
Well, let's go back to Toronto for a moment. March the 15th, you were on a tear yourself. You had 18 points in 9 games. The Leafs had moved up into 8th place. You're in contention, and then you injured your groin. Is that the same groin from the 2004 series versus Philly? And if so, because Paul Maurice said it was pretty significant, what have you done to rehabilitate that groin?
Well, I think there's no doubt in my age, you know, and I mean, hockey, we all get wear and tears and things happen, but I think for me, having the rest that I've had this summer again, and for me, it's working a lot of the other muscles around my groin area, working on the glutes and keep my hips mobile and make sure all that works. And I mean, the groin's going to be under tremendous pressure when you're a hockey player, and when you play 82 games schedule, you play every other day. That's one of the places where you have to do a lot of work. But I've had great help. I had Matt Nickel with the Toronto Maple Leafs, was excellent, helping me out, preparing me for every game last season, and has done that for a while. And I've had a program from another strengthening coach over here, so I think I'm well prepared physically to play.
You've taken the high road on this, but I'll ask it anyway. Cliff Fletcher, I mean, that had to tear your heart out when they said, never mind what you want, we want to look after the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, and we need you to move on. Did that cause you to maybe think enough of this stuff?
I mean, not really. I think, you know, looking back at that whole thing, I understand and I respect the position of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Toronto Maple Leafs trying to do what's best for the organization, and it was an unfortunate situation, I think, for everybody involved. And I still felt that I did what I thought was right, and I felt that I didn't want to leave the team at the time, and yeah, that's it.
Mike Gillis had tremendous faith in you. And you know what's interesting? Michael Jordan in 1993, Mats, he asked Phil Jackson, what do you think about me just playing the playoffs? He said, I can't come back and just play a handful of games and everybody will call me a prima donna in the media. So you're right back in it. Media glare in Canada, in Vancouver. Did you have any qualms about putting up with all that's going to be placed on you for having taken this route?
You know what? I'm just excited to play hockey now. As I said, I realized that, you know, if I wouldn't have played this season, my career would have been over. And just to have a chance to get back competing against the best players one more time. I understand it's going to be a challenge for me to get into game shape. You know, season is almost halfway done, and players are in prime condition and mid-season form. So that's going to be a big challenge for me, and I really appreciate the Vancouver Canucks and Mike Gillis for believing in me, and I'm going to do everything I can to try to be as good of a player as I can be.
It's amazing faith he showed in you. $20 million over 2 years was the offer last summer, so he knows you're no longer that young warrior that can carry a team alone. You're an elder statesman. What do you think about being an older statesman in the game? What does that player have to bring to Vancouver?
I'm not that old. You know, of course. I mean, I think talking to Matthias Ohlund with the Canucks too. And it's nice to hear that they think that I can contribute in some way on and off the ice. And so I'm excited. I mean, I hope I'm going to be able to bring the level of play to where it was last season, and make sure that I stay healthy, and hopefully I can do all the stuff that I've done the last few seasons here with the Leafs and bring that to the Canucks.
What do you do with Ryan Kessler and HNIC Sundin, the number 1 and 2 centers right now? How do you kind of move into the room and talk to them about where you're going to fit in?
I haven't even thought about that. I think I'm going to just, you know, I'm sure the next few days I'll talk to the coaching staff and some of the players, and I'm just happy to get a chance to play again, as I said, in the league. And wherever the coaching staff want to use me or how much, it doesn't really matter. I'll do whatever they want me to do.
How about the Olympic Games? What have you responded with respect to the national Swedish team and the games that will be played right there in Vancouver?
The Olympic Games, I haven't really thought about. I said after the Olympic Games in Torino when Sweden won the gold, I said this is it for me with the national team. That hasn't really changed. I think I'm going to just focus now on trying to be as good as I can be for the remaining of this season, and then evaluate at the end of this season where I go from there. And I understand that I'm going to have to play it really day by day now, and just focus on trying to get back into game shape, and that's where my only focus is. I don't look beyond the next couple of weeks here.
All right, last question. I'm sure you're thirsty after not having skated a whole lot. Christmas. When I was a kid, Mats, Bing Crosby had an album, Christmas Around the World, and I was blown away by stories from The Hague or from the Vatican or from Notre Dame in Paris. Tell us about, for the kids out there, what Christmas is like in Stockholm, Sweden.
Well, we don't have a lot of snow right now, so the Christmas feeling is not great. But Christmas in Sweden is the biggest holiday, and it is a time, just like in Canada, for family to come together. People travel from all over Sweden and from all over the world to come back to Sweden, or whether it's from Stockholm or whatever, Lapland in Sweden, they all want to come back. So if we're lucky here, that we're going to get some snow in Stockholm, but it's certainly family time, and as I know it is in Canada as well.
Our thanks to Mats Sundin. Dreaming of a white Christmas, might even get it in Vancouver. That's the forecast for tomorrow. The Chicago Blackhawks and the Canucks on Hockey Night in Canada coming up.